Brauts Homebrew coming at ya. Well, what have we got today? I'm back into my seasonals, and today I've got the Aying Oktober Fest-Märzen. And this comes from Aying Brewery, or I should say Braurerei Aying in Germany, and authentic Bavarian festival lager. So I'm looking forward to this. I used to drink a lot more of the Oktoberfest than I have in the last 2 years with doing beer reviews. Something I really do enjoy, and I like trying both the European ones and the American ones side by side. So I'm going to get this one poured and give it a try. Now that's a fine looking beer, isn't that? That truly is. Look at that head. You know, that's a 3-finger head, and I've got bubbles rising up. It's a really nice color. That's kind of that a deeper amber, almost some red hues to it, you know, or a really deep golden, but with red hues as well. It's a fairly white head. It's an off-white, you know, head, so there's a little bit of color to that. But it's a nice big head. Actually medium-sized bubbles, but really inviting looking beer for sure. All right, let's get a nose on it. Oh, yeah, that's just a nice classic aroma. You know, there's a light bit of sweetness on it, so there's always some good malt in there. And there's always like that little bit of nuttiness on it. You get a hint of caramel, a hint of toffee. I always say that I get, and I'm going to check this again, but I usually get a little bit of maple in there. Yeah, it's not as much with this one though. But there's a hint of that, you know, so a hint of the maple, a hint of the nuttiness, not as much as on some beers. All right, Prost. You know, this is a 5.8% beer, so you'll feel the effects, but it's fairly sessionable. You could have a number of these, and that's just a wonderful taste, I've got to say. Oh, so classic. And yet it's kind of light. You know, in a way it feels kind of light on the mouth. Makes it a really easy drinking beer, which is really, I think, what you're looking for when you're going to festivals, right? You know, something you could kind of pound them down or sip on slowly, either way. All right, so you've got some nice malt on this. And it's not a heavily sweet malt. It's just a lightly sweet malt, you know. But the flavors that you get on that, you get just a hint of toffee, you get a little bit of caramel. I still lean towards saying it makes me think of pancakes, you know. You get a little bit of that maple flavor in it. And I'm not talking about, you know, cheap maple syrup. I'm talking about like real maple flavor. And just like a slight nuttiness to it. You know, those noble hops are in the background. You just get a hint of spice from it. But the predominant character really is the malt with that nice sweetness, that little bit of nuttiness, that little bit of maple, brown sugar-esque type flavors. This one is not overwhelming though in terms of the nuttiness, maple and brown sugar. It's just a really nice balance. A really nice balance. Wow. And on the lighter side of a medium body. Dries out a little bit at the end, but just very lightly so. Slightly creamy. Oh man. Just on the tip of my tongue, that little bit of sweetness hits, and wow, this is a great beer. This is the kind of beer that I could get into this. I could go to Germany and just sit around drinking these and go do all the festivities and, you know, get my sausages and whatnot. Wow, that puts me in the mood. Wow, this is a great beer for sure. I gotta say, all right, it's rating time, but I gotta get my drink on a little bit more. There's just nothing not to like in this. It's a very good beer. You know, it's from a German brewer. It's authentic style. So Very nice. I've got to say, it's got to be an A beer. I understand there maybe are some that are better, but as far as a Märzen or Oktoberfest goes, this is so easy drinking, such a pleasant beer. You know, it's not overpowering, it's not underwhelming. It just is right there, right down the line, just wonderfully made. I don't know. I got to think that a beer like this, as far as style goes, has got to be then in the world-class level. I'm going to give it a 96. I'm not going to say I'm authority, but that puts it in that world-class. I think that's an appropriate rating. Overall, well, the first thing I want to say is I really appreciate the size of the bottle, the 500 milliliter. Because you know what? That's what it's all about, is enjoying that beer. So, cheers to that. But as far as a rating goes on a overall rating, again, the overall rating that we handle it here is this as our personal rating, and we put it up against other styles. But as I said, I like Oktoberfests, and I think this is a very good one. I've had a few American ones that I really thoroughly enjoy, but they vary so much from year to year. This is a very consistent product, and you've got to love that. So I'd say that overall with this, I'm going to put it in that excellent category still. You know, there are other things I like more, but I'm going to put it at a 91. I think that about puts it right for me. It's still excellent. It's in my lower tier of excellent, but one that I'm going to be enjoying here, but probably not too long the way I've been plopping this one down. If you haven't had it, you really should try it. I mean, I would think that this would be available pretty widely here in the US and abroad and the UK. I would think you would all be able to get this one. This is from Braurerei Aying, Ayinger Oktoberfest Märzen. And it's a wonderful beer indeed. Life is too short to drink cheap beer, and I will see you in the next beer review. Prost!